Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Course Creator Community Podcast. I'm your host, Jono, and I am super excited because we got a very special guest on the line this week, all the way from Costa Rica. I don't even know where that is, but I know it's far away. A little bit about this person. She helps bloggers, she helps brands, she helps course creators, content creators. She helps them boost their online presence. She helps them scale up their sites. She helps them grow their traffic organically, reach a wider audience, monetize their blogs. And she's also one of my favorite people to follow on social media. I follow two or three of her Instagram accounts. I can't wait for her new post to come up. So without further ado, let me introduce the one and only Ms. Isabel Leong. Isabel, how are you?
Hi, nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to be on here.
Awesome.
And I'm technically not in Costa Rica. I'm right now in Peru.
Peru, another place where I have no idea where it is. Is it
In
next? Is
South
it
America.
next to Costa Rica?
Close
Is it
to No, Costa Rica's in the middle, closer to Mexico.
Mexico?
Um,
Okay, I
Peru
know where
is
Mexico
it's
is.
Peru is somewhere like around Bolivia, Colombia. Yeah, the area in South America.
Okay, cool, cool. Yes, I know the top of South America. It sounds like
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Well, Isabel, I like to start all these podcasts off with a quote or mantra that inspires you or fires you up. Have you got one for
Yeah,
us?
yeah, totally. I really like and stand by this quote. If you think it, you can be it.
Mm, I love that one myself. Expand a little bit on that, Isabel. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I don't know, throughout the course of my journey, and I think through meeting different entrepreneurs as well, I have realized that people really want to go, sometimes they want to get out of their own rut, but they're not sure how to go about it, or they're afraid of getting out there and being in the unknown. And so a lot of the times, this mantra has really emboldened me to stick it out and face uncertainties and really believe in my own dreams. Because like for me in my personal journey, I started out with a travel blog, but I never thought that it could turn into a full-time job. It could allow me to travel full-time. It was just always my dream to be able to do that. And so with this quote, I guess I'm a living example of this quote.
Yes, love that. I like it for a few different reasons. I've got another quote that's similar, and then I like that one as well. I like the quote, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, either way, you're right. I like that because it's kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, first you need to believe in yourself, right? Then I like the second part where I think you said, if you dream it, it can come true. Or if you think it, like with everything that I kind of do in business, in life, like I map it out in my head firstly. And it goes back to those days, even when I was a personal trainer, I was running a fitness boot camp. I wouldn't just rock up to the boot camp and see what happens, right? I would write the plan beforehand. And then I would think in my head, okay, where are people going to stand? Where am I going to put the equipment? How am I going to explain the exercises? What jokes am I going to say? I would map it all out in my head. And then when I actually ran that session, it was like I was running it the second time because it already happened in my head, right? And then same kind of thing now with business. Whenever I'm running a business, it's mapped out in my head. What's the end result? What does it look like? All right, cool. Then I just need to work towards it there. So I love that. Uh, Isabel, I'd love to hear a little bit about your story. You mentioned you had a travel blog. Now you help other bloggers, you help other people with SEO. I'd like to hear a little bit about that journey. Start where you want to start. Let us know how you got into blogging,
Yeah.
what you did in blogging, what you did in SEO, and what you do now.
Yeah, so I started my blog in 2015, back when I was a university student. I did my student exchange in Europe, in France, and that was the very first time I bought a one-way ticket, the very first time I traveled solo. And so that was kind of the turning point for me. Long story short, that was kind of the turning point for me. I started a blog because I wanted to document my travels. I wanted to document my pictures and give tips to other people who are planning to travel in the location in the future. And then when I came back, I always had one mind. I mean, I was always biased against working in a corporate culture, but back in Singapore, it seems like corporate culture is the way to go. Like you study you are in a management university, they always grill you, they always brainwash you into thinking that you have to go into a corporate job, and that's the way to go in Singapore. Yeah, so in Singapore, it's kind of like we're pretty developed and everything is centered around business and development. And so it seems like corporate culture was the way to go. I dabbled my hand into corporate life for a bit after graduation, still didn't like it. And by then, I mean, like even when I was working a full-time job, my heart was always with my travel blog. And the more I did blogging, the more I realized that there are a lot of successful case studies, a lot of successful examples out there who are merely blogging and they're still able to travel full-time, they're able to blog full-time. And so that then was something that I really aspired to do. But because I had just graduated from university, I didn't have any solid work experience. So I did a full-time job for a little bit to rack up some experience. And eventually I did. I mean, long story short, in 2018, I kind of threw in the resignation letter and went on a working holiday in New Zealand for 6 months.
To
At the end
Australia?
of it,
Where'd you go?
New Zealand.
You went to New
I have
Zealand
not been.
instead of Australia?
I have not been to Australia. I mean, I have been
Whoa.
to Australia multiple times as vacations.
Whoa. Why did you choose New Zealand over Australia?
Because I felt like Australia was more similar to Singapore in terms of the infrastructure, at least in more developed
New
cities.
Zealand was a bit more backwards than Australia.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay.
And a lot more different variety, different types of landscapes. And it was more of a difference in the way of life as well, I think, because the job that I was
not as good as rugby and cricket and those sort of things as Australia.
Yeah, there is rugby.
Yeah, but not as good, but not as good as Australia, right?
Yeah, no cafe culture there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like for example, in New Zealand, the full-time job that I was in, it was a small little glacier town, and the closest supermarket was 3 hours drive away. Oof. Which is so scary because I'm used to just going downstairs my block where I live to just get whatever food I could. And so it was really a very opening experience for me. It stretched my limits to what possibilities are. Yeah. And so after I finished that
also stint, wait, just for the listeners there, Isabel, to put it in perspective, because I know New Zealand quite well. I go there every year, right? Just for the listeners that aren't maybe from Australia or New Zealand, there's only about 4 million people in the whole country of New Zealand. Now, if you're from Singapore originally, right?
Yes.
I'm guessing there's probably 4 million people in your apartment block in Singapore, yes. Right? You know,
we're one of the densest countries in the world.
Exactly. So that would have been different going to New Zealand there.
Totally. So much peace and quiet. I wake up to birds chirping instead of cars honking, you know?
Yeah. In New Zealand, there's if there's one other car on the road, they consider that traffic. They're like, oh, there's so much traffic. And I'm like, there's one other car. But anyways, go back to your story.
Yeah, and the pace of life as well is so much slower. People say hi to each other. They are warm to each other, even with strangers. But in Singapore, unless you're with your friends, you don't talk to the table beside you. That sort of thing. So yeah, at the end of it, after my 6 months there, I was at this crossroads of whether, so I had been blogging consistently then. And so I was at this crossroads on whether or not I should go back to working a full-time job back in Singapore or...
Were you making money blogging there, Isabel?
Here and there. I wouldn't say, I wasn't very serious with, making money wasn't the goal for me. Gotcha. When I was blogging.
It was just fun?
Yeah, it was kind of just fun. It was kind of just testing it out, seeing if it will work, seeing if full-time blogging would work. And so it was at this crossroads that I made the decision, very bold, very scary decision to, okay, I'm just going to give myself 3 months. I'm going to go to Japan, work full-time on the blog, work full-time working hours, 8 hours a day, make my blog an income of at least the same as I would earn back in Singapore in a normal corporate job. And that was going to be my benchmark. That was going to be my success indicator. And so, yeah, I worked really hard in that 3 months, really enjoyed my life in Japan because I've always wanted to work overseas. Like I've always wanted to live overseas, actually, just to experience like the local culture, the work culture, the everyday life. And so it worked. So like I had this mindset shift, like, if you think it, you can be it. If you really set your heart to it, if you didn't think of alternatives, you just like have this one track mind to succeed, whether it is your blog or your business or your course, you put 100% focus and energy into it, then you can be it. And so that experience was kind of an indication to me. It really gave me the courage to pursue this uncertain lifestyle, and so like today I'm able to really just work whenever and wherever I want, like in Peru or in Bolivia, wherever. And since the pandemic, I've also pivoted, and I've thought that, okay, I've learned everything there is to know about blogging and I've done everything I can. Well, maybe I can go into videos next. I can grow a YouTube channel, but what can I do with all the information that I know? And so that was when I decided to start a course about SEO, specifically about empowering bloggers or small business owners who want to really be able to be more in control of their business or their blog, and really not be restricted by the number of hours they are working. So I thought SEO could bridge that gap for them. And that's how the course idea was born.
Love it. Let me ask a couple questions back in your story there, Isabel. So when you went to Japan for 3 months, you were able to generate the same income you'd make in a full-time job while you're at Japan for 3 months. That's what happened?
Yes, that's right.
Can I ask what that income is? Is that all right? Feel free to say no.
Yeah, it was about like an average graduate salary, not in finance, just in a general degree, would be around 3,000, more or less.
3,000 US
Singapore
a month?
dollars. Singapore dollars.
And is Singapore dollars
a month?
About a US dollar, give or take, or
So about 2007, I would say.
2,000. Okay, cool. So about 2,500, 3,000 US dollars a month.
Yeah.
Okay. And can I ask, how did you monetize it? What were the things you did? Because you went from basically inconsistent to a consistent 2,000 a month, right? What was the biggest change?
It was, for me, really focusing on growing my traffic. And because traffic is somehow proportionate to the amount of passive so I have advertising spots on my website, on my blog, and so the amount of traffic that I get is kind of proportionate to how much ad revenue I get, which is totally passive in a way. So with that was like the baseline where I didn't have to worry about this baseline income that I would get. But of course, there were other sources of income as well. Like by then I was already dabbling in a little bit of SEO for other companies. So I was doing a lot of outreach activities for other companies. I was also getting offers to have other brands want to place their brand name, brand mention, wanted me to do a brand mention on my blog for them. So that was one other source of income as well.
Gotcha. And just want to get my head around the advertising. Is that like a Google thing? Is that like
so with Google AdSense, it pays pennies. Okay. And so my target back then was 25,000 page views or 25,000 sessions to be qualified with Mediavine, and Mediavine pays considerably much more.
What's media buying? Sorry.
Mediavine is a advertising network. So they're kind of the intermediary.
Media what was it?
Vine. Vine.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, they're sort of the intermediary between publishers like us, bloggers, and advertisers who wanna advertise on various blogs and websites.
So once you've got a website that generates that amount of traffic, you can sign up for Mediavine, and then let's say there was a someone that wanted to advertising, they would go on Mediavine. There'd be a list of websites that they can potentially advertise on or whatever,
Yeah.
and then it would
Yeah.
Mediavine would they check with you first? Do they say, "Hey, Isabel, this is who
No,
I
there
just
is like a
want-"
whole system. You can't really control what you see on the ads.
Gotcha.
It's really just based on the keywords, based on the niche that the blog is in. Of course, you can always blacklist certain topics like gambling or smoking or
Pornography
CBD,
or
that sort of thing. Yeah.
yeah.
But in general, it would show the ads based on the reader's interest. So if I had been
Gotcha.
Googling, tom
Oh,
yum
so they're
soup or something
dynamic.
like
They're
that.
dynamic. I
Yeah,
would go to your
yeah,
website. I might see one ad. Someone else might see a completely different ad.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And that was like the base. If you had, just so I get my head around the numbers, you had 25,000 unique visits a month. How much revenue would you generate from that, from Mediavine,
Yeah.
roughly?
Let me see. Just pulling out the numbers. Like when I first started, it's somewhere around $300 to $600 a month,
Okay.
depending on the traffic.
Gotcha.
US
Okay.
dollars.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then where did the rest of your revenue come from then? Where did the other, one and a half
Yeah.
thousand come from?
Yeah, it came from brands wanting to have a brand mention on my blog. It came from me doing other SEO work for other people, other
Gotcha.
clients, affiliates as well. When I promote a hotel and someone books through my link, I get a small little commission.
Gotcha.
And I was also freelance writing at that time when I first started, but I slowly shifted out of it because I wanted to focus more on my work. I wanted to focus more on passive incomes.
Awesome. I love it. And then this blog is
Yeah.
still up, still active today, still generating cash from it. That's your
Yep,
still
totally.
your major revenue source?
I would say it varies because right now I have the SEO course, and sometimes I also do freelance consulting for clients with digital marketing. So it ranges up and down.
Awesome. All right. Cool. Well, that's some good background there. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a heap of people listening to this, Isabel, that are like, that's great, all well and good for you, Isabel, but how can this help me? So let's give some tips. So let's say, for example, there's a course creator, they've got a website, they've got a blog on their website. They might not be a regular travel blogger like you are, but they, a couple times a month, they might put a blog up there, but there's no real strategy or anything like that. Where does this person start? What's the first thing they need to do?
Yeah, so with every new website, I always recommend having a blog because Google looks at, of course, as a course creator, as a brand, you want to establish your own brand, you want to establish your own expertise, your authority in that subject matter. And so if you just have a static website, you just have a single web homepage, you're not going to be able to rank for that homepage because Google looks at the overall keyword density of your website and determines what kind of niche you are in. And so I always recommend new website owners to really have a blog section and really start writing blog articles about your subject. So not just, of course, you can start off with brainstorming anything and everything related to your blog topic, your subject matter. But if you really want to hone in, if you're really serious about trying to get ranking on Google for when people are searching for your subject matter, then you want to go into keyword research.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's start there then. So keyword research. What does that mean? How do we do it? Where do we start?
Yeah, so with keyword research, the formula is, of course, you want to target keywords that have a high demand where people are constantly searching it every month, but low competition in that super authoritative websites like Forbes or CNN or National Geographic or entrepreneur.com, they are not already ranking for those keywords. So that's basically the formula, and there are different keyword research tools that you can go into to look at this balance of between high demand and low competition. And you can also use it to you can also assess it just with Google search. You just type in the keyword you want to target, and it will give you tons of ideas. So that is what I would suggest for someone starting out who isn't ready to necessarily like purchase a keyword research tool yet. You can just go to Google search. Before you hit enter, there is always a drop down menu where there are long tail keywords. So keywords that are maybe 4 to 5 sentences, 4 to 5 words long. And from there, really hone in on the keyword to write about. And on the Google search result page, there is always a featured snippet saying people also ask. So so based on the keywords that you've searched, these are the different questions that other people are asking. So it's a good idea to also incorporate these questions into your blog articles and answer these questions. So that Google, they want to rank those articles that they're ranking at the top. It's because they are informative, they answer users' questions, and they offer a good experience. So you want to keep these factors in mind when writing out your articles.
Awesome. Okay, so many good bits of information there. Let me summarize some of this for the listeners. Okay, let's start with the keyword research. So let's start with, it's got to be something where there's high demand. So I've made this mistake before. My first ever course was a boot camp course for personal trainers. You know, they would do this course to grow their boot camp. So the SEO word I targeted was boot camp, or the phrase I targeted was boot camp course for personal trainers. I was ranked number 1 on Google. Awesome, right? But there was zero traffic for that keyword there. So the fact that I was ranked number 1 on Google meant pretty much absolutely nothing, right? So that's an important note for the listeners there. You can be ranked number 1, that's great, but if no one's searching it, it doesn't mean anything, right? Now let's go on the flip side. Let's stick with the fitness side of things. How to lose weight is probably the most common searched term on Google, right? So if you're a personal trainer, you're like, all right, how to lose weight. There's heaps of traffic on that. But good luck trying to get past page 10 on Google or something, right? If you're going for how to lose weight. So it's like, what's a balance? How can we find a phrase that's being searched a lot, but there's not a lot of competition out there? That's the whole essence to SEO, right? Isabel mentioned some tools, and we'll speak about that in a sec. But even just starting off at the absolute most basic, right? If you go into Google now, we'll just use weight loss as an example. If you go into Google and you type in how to lose weight, don't press enter, a bunch of things will come down. How to lose weight fast, how to lose weight without dieting, how to lose weight at the gym. You know, there's going to be a whole heap of suggested terms there. It's a good indication to assume, okay, if it's coming up there, there's a lot of traffic for it. And usually the longer the keyword, the less competition. Like how to lose weight, impossible. How to lose weight fast, still difficult, but not as difficult as how to lose weight. How to lose weight fast without dieting. Okay, now I might have a chance to be there. And then similar, if you scroll down a bit further on Google, there'll be these questions down there, which also shows where the traffic is. So that's a good start. If someone wants to go the next level, Isabel, what's I guess the most affordable tool that you could use to give you an indication of traffic and competition?
Yeah, it's called Key Search, and I've got a discount code if you want to offer it to your readers. But otherwise, Key Search is a really affordable entry-level keyword research tool that I wouldn't say it would overwhelm first-timers trying to learn about keyword research. It's really intuitive, and you can really get started on it. I have a free tutorial on Key Search as well if you want to share this with your audience. Yes. And that's one way to get started with keyword research.
Awesome. All right, cool. So now let's say someone's done their research, they've gone to Key Search, they've picked 5 or 10 words that they want to focus on. What's the next thing we do, Isabel? Do we write a blog on each different one? Do we write one blog and get all the keywords in there? What do we do?
Yeah, I would say to focus on one keyword phrase at a time. And within one keyword phrase, you would be able, if you follow the previous examples of people also ask and also answering questions that are related to that keyword phrase, you would have heaps of ideas. In general, the top ranked articles are usually 2,000 words long.
Okay.
And so you want it to be informative. You want to break up your text with relevant images. And the images should also be SEO optimized. And one way to do it is by including the keywords in the alt text, the description, and the title. And so, yeah, break up the paragraphs with images. You want your paragraphs to be short as well, because user experience, right? Most of the readers these days come from mobile. And so if you have large chunks of paragraphs and text, it's usually going to defray people from reading all the way to the end. So you want them to be short and sweet, easily readable, easily digestible. You want to have your keywords sprinkled all around your entire article. So you also don't want to commit the mistake of keyword cannibalization, where I'm targeting how to lose weight in 28 days. You don't want to just put this phrase in every single paragraph. You probably want to think about related keywords related to it, which is termed latent semantic indexing, which basically means thinking of keywords related to it, like lose weight, diet, exercise, wellness, health, these sorts of related keywords that are related to your keyword phrase, which is how to lose weight in 28 days. So you want to sprinkle all these related keywords around your articles as well in your so your title should have the main keyword phrase, but your H2 and your H3 heading could be related, could be other keywords that are related to the main keyword.
Awesome. All right. Let me summarize that for the listeners, because a lot of good info there as well. So now we've got our list of keywords. We're just going to focus on one, okay, or one phrase. We type that in Google, we see the suggested questions, those sort of things there. We might have 5, 6, 7 different blog ideas. Let's say we're just writing that one blog. A rough estimate is to get it to about 2,000 words. We want to make sure that it's easily readable. We want to make sure that we've got that term in at least the heading and sprinkled throughout the blog, but without overdoing it. And we want to make sure that we've got some synonyms in there as well, because Google is kind of smart enough to know, right? Okay, this guy's just stuffing these keywords in. Let's penalize him for it. But they're also smart enough to realize, okay, if someone's searching how to lose weight in 28 days, and there's this blog says how to lose weight in a month, Google's smart enough to know, okay, they're related. So let's, still show it to people and put it up there. And then also the images. If we're throwing images up there, let's make sure that the alt tag has our keyword phrase in there. I personally use a tool, Isabel, SEO Roast, I think it's called, or something like that. SEO Yoast or something like that.
Plugin?
Yeah, plugin.
Is that a plugin?
Yeah. Are you familiar with that one?
Yeah. So with plugins, they are not in charge of the keyword research. So they would optimize your article that you're writing based on the keyword that you've already targeted. So it doesn't tell you whether these keywords are good in the sense that whether they are high in demand and low in competition, and whether you have the potential to rank. So before even honing in on your keywords and putting it into SEO Yoast, you should do your keyword research beforehand. So yeah, I think it's a plugin that is great for beginners, for lazy people who just want to write and make sure that the article is
What are you trying to say
optimized.
about me, Isabel? You calling me lazy?
No, you're efficient, but
there we go.
You still got to do your homework before that.
Yeah, what I personally do is I do my keyword research. So I've got the list of keywords. I'll then write up a blog myself, or I'll get a blogger to do it, but let's just say I write it up myself. I then give it to my virtual assistant and I say, hey, Phoebe, upload this to the platform, use this keyword in SEO Yoast, and then it gives you suggestions, hey, you've got an image there, but you haven't used the thing in the alt tag, or like, hey, you haven't used the keyword in the slug, So it gives you little prompts just to make sure, in my opinion, it gives you these good little prompts to make sure that all the bare minimums are done. If you know your keyword and you plug it in Yoast, it gives you a good bare minimum. So That's my take there. So, all right, cool. Now we've
Yeah.
written. So we can add on that.
Oh no, I was gonna say, yeah, it is great for, like I said, beginners, because it
Just
gives you
rub it in. Just
prompts.
rub it in and call me a beginner, Isabel.
No, it gives you prompts, but I mean, there's always, especially if you're trying to rank for a competitive word,
Yeah.
then there are other tools out there like Surfer SEO. It gives you related keywords as well, so that it strengthens and makes your blog really more optimized.
Yes, awesome. All right, cool. So is that the end, Isabel? We've done our keyword research. We've written our blog. We publish our blog on there. Is there anything else we should be doing to help our SEO rankings, help our traffic?
Yeah, backlinks is one of the most important factors with ranking on Google as well, because say I've written 1,000,001 articles on my website, on my blog, but no one knows about it. And how do I get someone to know about it? It is through building your backlinks, because imagine Google as a bot, and it crawls from one site to another. So say on Huffington Post, it has this article about fitness, and then that article has sprinkled a couple different links on there. So each time the Google bot enters the website, the article, it will also go to each link and then enter the link and then crawl that website, and it goes on and on and on. So you want other people to be linking to you, and that's what I mean by backlinks.
Awesome. Okay, so a couple things there. So I'm a huge fan of backlinks myself, right? Let me think of this way to explain this. So, okay, cool. So let's say let's start here. We want other websites linking to our website. That's going to help our SEO. How do we do that, Isabel? Do we guest blog? Do we go on podcast? Do we just cold outreach? How do we get, if someone's listening to this, they're like, great, how do I get my website listed on other websites?
Yeah, so I've got a multiple different ways that have worked for me, that I've listed out all in my course. But some of the most basic ways, the easiest ways to grow your backlinks is, of course, this requires a bit more effort, but you can guest post on other blogs that are relevant to yours. So if you are in fitness, maybe you want to guest post in bigger publications like strong.com or something like that. I'm not sure with the fitness. Yeah, so you want to be able to guest post, but it's also not easy. So I've outlined like step by step how to really reach out to them, because a lot of publications these days, they think that you are trying to advertise in their blog and they would charge you tons of money. So yeah, one way is definitely to guest post and ask for a do follow link. Another way is also to reach out to bloggers that are maybe in similar caliber as you, similar age, and everyone is still growing, so they might be more willing to do link exchanges with you. Yeah, these are some of the ways.
Awesome. And am I also right in saying, Isabel, it depends on the website as well, right? Like if it's a new website, they've got no traffic, they've got no domain authority, that's going to be different to if you're on a big popular publication that's got heaps of traffic and high authority, right?
Yeah. So
awesome.
you always, as a low domain authority, very young blog, you always want to be linked or associated with higher domain authority publications, because it's like passing link juice.
Yeah.
If a high domain authority links to you, it's like they vouch for you, and so in Google's eyes, you are deemed credible in that niche.
Yes, the way I like to explain it and make sense to me is like, let's just use Isabel as an example, right? Let's just say let's go both ways actually. So let's say I think Isabel is pretty. Okay, that's great. I'm one person that said that. That doesn't really mean anything, right? However, if 100 people say Isabel is pretty, okay, it's a pretty good chance that she's pretty, That's kind of how Google looks at it with the backlinks, right? If one person's linking to you, yeah, okay, that person might be a weirdo. But if there's 100 people linking to you, okay, this must be a pretty good thing, right? But then it also depends. Like, let's say I think Isabel is pretty, but let's say I'm Isabel's sister, okay? Well, of course, I'm going to think Isabel's pretty. I'm her sister, you know? So it's not, doesn't really have a high domain ranking, right? But let's say, for example, Miss Universe thinks Isabel is pretty. Okay, well, if Miss Universe thinks Isabel is pretty, she must be pretty. So Miss Universe has a higher authority than Isabel's sister, right? Same kind of thing with Google. If the person has more authority, Google's going to trust that person a bit more there. Now, I want to finish up on the SEO side of things, Isabel, because there's a few different questions I always like to finish up with. The first one is around course platforms. So this is a podcast obviously for course creators. There's plenty of different platforms out there. I'm curious to hear either which platform you use for your course or which course platform you recommend.
I am currently using Podia, although I've heard a lot about, I can't remember offhand, but they have launched this evergreen pricing where you can just, I can't remember offhand, sorry, but yeah, I'm using Podia right now.
Awesome. Thoughts on Podia? You like it? You recommend it? You don't like it?
So I originally started with Podia because it kind of is an all-in-one platform, and it doesn't charges a commission for every sale that you make. It's just a flat fee, and it has email service provider. It has a website builder. It allows you to host as many videos, as big of a size, without any limits on the size of videos that you upload. So it's great for entry level course creators, I would say. Although it does, I mean, compared to just a landing page builder itself, like ClickFunnels, it definitely has limitations compared to that.
What's the price point of Podia? Because that's one actually I've never used myself.
I think it's $49 a month.
$49 a month. Okay. Yeah. All right. So pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Next question, Isabel. I'm curious. You're obviously a mentor now for plenty of people that want to get better at SEO, plenty of bloggers. I'm curious to hear who your biggest mentors have been over the years. If you could answer this in 3 different ways. If you could give us a paid mentor, so someone that you've paid money to do their course or their program, an unpaid mentor, so someone that you haven't paid money to, but you read their blog or you follow them on Instagram or you subscribe to their YouTube channel, whatever it may be, someone that you follow, and then a book that you recommend everyone should read. Usually I ask a book everyone should read if they want to get better at creating courses. In your case, let's just say a book everyone should read if they want to get better at online business. So mentors, paid, unpaid, and book.
Yeah, so I think Melissa Griffin when she started teaching about course creation, she really did outline it step by step, and it really helped me kickstart my whole course creation journey. So I would say Melissa Griffin is one. In terms of free mentors, I really like listening to Amy Porterfield and Smart Passive Income. They have very focused podcast episodes, and you can learn so much from these free podcast episodes. Yes. As for the book, I always like to recommend The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss.
Good all around. Melissa Griffin, I'm not super familiar with her. I think I was friends with her a few years ago.
Really? She started many years ago, I think.
Yeah. I've seen the name, but not super familiar. Amy Porterfield is like the most recommended free resource on here. That's what most people say. Smart Passive Income. So Pat Flynn, I see him every year at Social Media Marketing World. He's a big mentor of mine as well. He's not commonly mentioned here. So yeah, let's give him a plug, Pat Flynn. And the 4-Hour Workweek. Yes, that's a classic there. Okay, so Isabel, I'm sure there's going to be people listening to this, watching this. They're like, okay, this woman is cool. She knows her stuff. I want to follow her. I want to take her course. I want to hear more about her. What do we do? You got a freebie? You've got a Facebook group. Where's the best place for us to go?
Yeah, so as we mentioned earlier, I have this free keyword research tutorial. If you want, I will get in the show notes below. I also have a free SEO course for beginners trying to start out and who are really afraid of the overwhelm. So it's a step-by-step course, email course on what it is and how to start implementing it. So that is at bellaroundtheworld.com/free-SEO-course.
Send it to me. I'll put it in the show notes.
Yep. Okay. And of course, you're free to join my Facebook group as well. It's called Skyrocket Blog Traffic. It's all about discussing how to grow your blog traffic, how to monetize online, and it's geared towards bloggers and small business owners who are trying to really monetize with their blog.
Awesome. All right, Isabel, that's pretty much all I wanted to get through today. Is there anything I should have asked you but forgot to, or anything you want to finish us off with?
No, I think we're pretty good. I'm also on all social media platforms. So if you go into bellaroundtheworld.com, you can find all of my platforms on there. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, everything. So if you want to reach me, it's a more direct method to reach me to ask any other questions that you may have.
Awesome. All right, Isabel, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Cheers.